106.7 Lights FM.
106.7 Light FM. It's Cubby and Christine. Good morning. We are live at Hassenfeld Children's Hospital for our annual radiothon. And Christine, we are joined by another lovely lady. And if you could do the honors of introducing her.
She's such a beautiful name, Daphne Gilles. Daphne, how was my pronunciation?
Oh, that was perfect. Thank you,
Yay.
Christine.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you so much for being here. So Daphne, I want to give a little bit of a background of your story, because you came to Hassenfeld Children's Hospital. You discovered that your daughter, Mia, who's now 14 and we understand doing wonderfully, you found out that she had type 1 diabetes when she was just 2 years old. She was diagnosed, correct?
That's right. That's right.
And so you worked with the hospital and the advisors there, and you've pretty much become an advisor yourself. You're on the Sala Family Advisory Council, which we definitely need to get into the details of that. But first, I would like to ask you about your daughter, Mia. How is she doing now? And as her mom, how was it learning at such a young age that she had diabetes?
Yeah, so Maya, as you mentioned, Maya's 14 now, and she's actually doing pretty fantastic, knock on wood. She's doing great, and one thing I want to say is that, when she was diagnosed at 2, it was a really difficult thing because her condition is one where she can't talk about it, or she couldn't talk about it when she was 2. She couldn't tell me how she felt. And so seeing her now at 14 and how much she's grown and developed and how much more insight she has on the care that she's received, and also in just developing this understanding of how to manage her condition, it's a really beautiful thing to see. So I'm hoping to share a little bit about, how NYU has played into, who she's developed into today, the person she's developed into today in managing the condition, because I feel like NYU has been pretty integral in just helping us figure out what it means to go through different stages of her life with the condition, and what it means for her, especially now that she's 14 and she has to learn how to manage it on her own eventually, which is a scary thing for me. But yeah, that's something that we're thinking about now. But
Daphne, you'll speak to other parents that just learned that their child has diabetes, correct?
Yes. That's something I wasn't expecting that I would do, 12 plus years after a diagnosis, having to talk to other folks about what it felt like to go through really what was the devastation of trying to manage a diagnosis that most people don't really know about. But it's been really great, both through other organizations and also NYU, to be able to talk to other parents about not just the physical care, but emotionally what it means to take in a diagnosis like that and then be part of this group that you really never wanted to be part of. Being a parent and having a child with a chronic condition, it's just something you never anticipated you'd have to sign up for as a parent. And it's just been, it's been really gratifying, and also, I don't know, it's sort of a way to help me manage things better by being able to talk to other parents about some of the challenges Maya and I have faced. And then also, I'm able to talk to different parents about, concerns that other parents who don't have children with type 1 diabetes won't necessarily understand. I feel like I'm that ear that can really help them to not feel so isolated and alienated, which is something you'll hear a lot of other parents of children with type 1 diabetes. I feel like being available there to talk with them really reduces that feeling, which is a really great thing.
You're helping so many people. Thank you. And I know that that's why you're serving on the Sala Family Advisory Council. But I'd like to go back to Maya and the kind of care that she received at Hassenfeld Children's Hospital, and why you feel so strongly that you want to share this message.
Yeah, so just to give you a little bit more background, Maya was diagnosed, when she was 2, but since between her being diagnosed at 2 and now, there was a period of time where we lived in Rhode Island, so she was receiving care there. But the thing I want to emphasize is that as soon as we moved back to New York from Rhode Island 3 years ago, the first thing I knew we had to do when we returned was to get connected with NYU. And that's only because before we left to live in Rhode Island, we had received care there. I knew it was essential for her as, a middle schooler, which is when we moved back to New York, for her to be able to connect with a place that could treat her holistically. One thing I realized is that when she was 2, the thing I was really focused on was just making sure she was physically comfortable, right? But, once she got older and she was a lot more self-aware, it became a lot more critical for me to connect her with a place where she could talk with folks about emotionally how she's managing things, and then also just feel like she's not looked at just in terms of her condition, right? That she's more than a diagnosis. She's more than just a patient. She's this person who's complex and beautiful and has lots of other interests. And so that's what NYU has brought. Part of Hassenfeld Children's Hospital is the NYU Pediatric Diabetes Center, where Maya is connected. And they are so committed to treating the whole person that I'm kind of blown away. Like, I was thinking the other day about how really grateful I feel that there's this space that she can enter where they're thinking about all aspects of her identity. They're always thinking about, like, how is she doing psychologically? How is she trying to understand how to manage the condition herself? How is she viewing herself? Like, what's her self-image? Turns out that's not a given in terms of how a practice operates. I mean, that's definitely what I found when we were in Rhode Island. When we got here, and she was connected with NYU, which is something I knew before, but it's more significant now because she's 14 and she needs that type of support. They've just been outstanding in terms of just looking at her as this whole person. And like I mentioned, I'm just so grateful for that.
What would you say to somebody right now listening either in the car or streaming at home, and they're thinking about donating by calling, by the way, 1-800-222-1067? What would you say to them if they're thinking about doing it but not sure? How would you push somebody to donate? Because anything can help Hassenfeld Children's Hospital. Yeah,
I think I'd want anyone who's thinking about donating to just think about, how it would feel to be in the position of not really knowing how to help a family member. It doesn't even have to be your child, just any family member, anybody that you care about, not knowing how to help them in a situation where most of your family and friends don't really understand how to help you. But you actually have this space that you can go to where everyone is so welcoming, everyone is so knowledgeable and genuinely compassionate. Like, that turns out that's not a given too. that some healthcare places you go, that compassionate care isn't necessarily a given. Like, you can get, have access to the most outstanding researchers, but you won't necessarily get a clinician who actually genuinely cares about you. Like, that's what I've experienced at NYU, and that's what you're contributing to. You're actually contributing to this culture of care. I mean, think about it. We're in the middle of this year where the world is on fire. Like, we need compassion more than anything. And there's this space in our city that's committed to doing just that. I mean, if you don't know what to support at this point, because there's so many other places that you could support, please support NYU, just because they've been not, this rock of support for my family, but for many, many families in the community. And actually, you may even be benefiting from them without even realizing it, just because of all the patient education that they've done, just because some of the research they do ends up spilling out into the community. Like, you're supporting all of that. So whatever you can give, please do it. I mean, even if it's $5, like, just whatever you can give, it all matters, and it all, you know, contributes to this idea of compassion and caring. Like, I know everyone cares. Everyone has the capacity to help, you know, their fellow human. So just as a human, just please give.
Wow. Daphne, you said it so beautifully. Really, your message is so powerful. I thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story and Maya's story. And of course, we wish you happy holidays. I know, like we said, it's a crazy year, but thank God we have each other, and we wish you all the best. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for just giving me the space to talk about a place that's been so important in our lives. Thank you both.
Thank you, Daphne. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Okay, thank you.
106.7 Lights FM.